Well, let's give our opinion about what happened in Cornella. Yes, I'm going to do it. Did you ask me to? Although lately I don't really want much trouble, right? Because things are very polarized. There's a lot of toxicity, and I've realized that this is hurting me and everyone else. It's poisoning our lives a little on the inside. And even though I have a channel where I give my opinion on many things every day, and I even have a political channel with Fran Carrillo, we made a video the other day, by the way. I encourage you to watch it. Despite all that, I'm trying to distance myself from things that I think will hurt me and anyone else. Things are really ugly, very polarized, and I don't like it at all. But I'm going to give my opinion about this, and it will be now at the end of the video. But first, something I didn't say in yesterday's video about the thing with Italy. We showed a very clear penalty committed against a Bosnian player. We also showed, well, the foul by Bastoni's foul, and it was absolutely a red card. Also, the one where a Bosnian defender fouled an Italian forward. I think the Bosnian defender didn't touch the ball, but the Italian forward did. And for me, the Bosnian should have been sent off. So one here, another there. But this, I hadn't seen this before, and indeed, it should have been a handball by Edin Dzeko because he hit it with his arm. But here's the thing, it's amazing. It turns out I was blown away that in this play, which we're going to show as an example now, the one with Guler, well, let's see. He tries to head the ball. Hey, it hits his arm. It's a clear handball, right? The thing is that Donnarumma deflects this shot. A shot that's a bit weak, but it's already in the 6-yard box. And Donnarumma is practically on the goal line. The guy is moving backwards and clears it however he can. The ball doesn't go in. If the ball had gone in, the goal would have been disallowed. The thing is, Donnarumma clears the ball, and then the guy comes in, not Seiko, but the guy who's there, number 23, I think it was 23, and he scores, right? The clip is cut, but another Bosnian or Bosniak takes advantage of the rebound. I've been told that Bosniaks are Muslim Bosnians. I don't know. Well, speaking of Muslims, we'll talk later, as I said, about the Cornella thing. I haven't forgotten. Well, it's amazing how the law, this rule in football is written, which says this is a goal, this is a goal. If I were Italian. Today I wouldn't leave my room. I wouldn't go out today. I wouldn't go out for weeks or months because it's all terrible. As we mentioned in the previous video about missing 3 World Cups in a row, all of this, the team, Italian football can't manage to evolve. There's no way for it to evolve. There's a clip of a journalist in 2014 on Copacabana Beach. The guy's special correspondent, Italy had already, I think they had already been eliminated in the group stage, who said, if we keep playing the same way, we're going to be screwed, and just wait and see what happens in the next World Cups and all that. It was kind of a premonition of what could happen. Well, but let's get to this. This is a goal because the ball didn't go in. If Edin Dzeko had scored, it would have been disallowed. So, of course, the rule is wrong. It can't be like that because there's an incredible immediacy. Donnarumma clears it and the other guy scores, and they're saying that's why it's a goal. In any case, Dzeko's shot off his shoulder. It's a shot off Dzeko's shoulder, and they say, no, it's involuntary. Well, of course, but something in this rule has to change. Tancredi Palmeri, the Italian, has admitted it. He says, yes, it's true. The rule is written that way, so we just have to accept it. And several reliable analysts, reliable ones, not Pavel Fernandez or any of those, confirm this, right? And, well, it reminds us of the Guler incident against Osasuna. Do you remember at the Bernabéu when, in Guler's case, it really did come to him off a rebound? The ball hits the hand, the goalkeeper deflects it, and then Guler scores. But in that case, it was the same player, or at least that's what they told us, that since it was the same player and the rebound was very immediate, but what difference does it make if it's the same player? That's why I have more doubts about Guler's case, because it also comes from a very close rebound. It's not the same as Seiko, who goes to finish and ends up hitting it with his arm. There, Guler didn't try to finish with his hand. It came to him off a rebound. The deflection was quick. Guler scored, but it was disallowed because it was the same player. The rule is a disgrace, the rule. Anyway, well, not just because of this, but for many reasons, Italy has missed out on the World Cup. So, well, there will be people talking about robbery and all that. But the thing is, I remembered something that Christian Vieri told me, and I'm going to play it for you. the thing is, Italy, when it comes to international football, can't really complain too much about being robbed in their history. Many Italians might say this happened, but remember the penalty awarded to Bosnia? Now, it's tough to know that they could have sent off an opposing player. They could have been down to 10 men and they didn't do it. And that this goal was the equalizer, right? That it was going to happen at any moment because Bosnia was besieging an Italy with one man down, right? This could have happened at any moment. I remembered this about Christian Vieri that he told me, for those who haven't seen it, many of you probably have, about the issue of being robbed at World Cups. This was, well, the most talked about one because there were 3 in a row. And it's what I always say, what does a Turk who was once the top official at UNICEF have to do with this? Well, I'll tell you now. Christian Vieri told me this once when, I don't know if there's music here, I hope not. We took a walk there in Miami, and he was my colleague at Bin Sports, and he told me about what Korea did in the 2002 World Cup with them and with Spain. And when you play, you realize that the referee does things and there's something that just doesn't feel right. He doesn't call a foul for me. He doesn't call a foul for Maldini. He doesn't call a foul for Totti. He sees it. So what? It was a scandal. I know we had chances to win in the Champions League. You know what I mean? So yes, the referee later went around New York with heroin, Moreno, the story, and Korea qualified. You remember this, right? That referee from that Italy-Ecuador match was later caught at the New York airport transporting drugs. Unbelievable. But even so, we should have won. Then you Spaniards, you also played against Korea, and besides, it's known that Korea, well, cheated. It was obvious. You can understand when it said that in a country, in Italy, the referee, okay, in Argentina, the referee, okay, in Spain, the referee, okay, it can happen, right? Second division, but in a World Cup, that's what I thought. In a World Cup, I mean, no, because everyone watches a World Cup. If I had been a Korean player, I would be ashamed, you know? I would be ashamed. Come on, it's a World Cup. This shouldn't be done anywhere but a World Cup, which everyone watches, and you can't do anything. That was incredible. They did it first to Portugal in the group stage, then to Italy, then to Spain. The person responsible, I said it the other day, I've mentioned it several times, I don't mind repeating it. The person in charge of the referees in that 2002 World Cup was Senes Ercik, a Turk. They reached the semifinals this way, robbing teams in the group stage, in the round of 16, and in the quarterfinals. Korea, which faced Germany, lost, and Turkey, which faced Brazil, also lost. Because, of course, they already said, hey, let's stop it here, right? I don't think they wanted to stop it. Brazil and Germany were just so much better than the other teams, so there was no way. But yes, Senes Ercik. Years later, you already know the story, he became responsible for referees in UEFA and also responsible for UNICEF. And Barca magically started wearing UNICEF on their shirts. They asked Laporta, does this cost anything? No, we do it altruistically. Stark, Ofrevo, Stark, Aitekin, right? All of these guys, man, it's crazy. I just remembered because of the Itaú thing. I remembered something good old Christian told me. Well, anyway, our deepest condolences to the Italians. It must be terrible. We'll talk about Vini later because we're going to relate it to the Cornella topic. But first, the positive side of what we've seen tonight, right? I didn't watch the match. It was early morning. Brazil beat Croatia 3-1. And Vini, who we mentioned yesterday as being heavily criticized in Brazil, apparently played a very good match. And he also made this, by the way, incredible play. He gets past his marker here, does that typical move where he takes on three guys. It's amazing. Those moves always look like they'll end in a goal. Look, all 3 of them are on the ground. And of course, here comes a teammate. I don't know who this is, the one who scored one of the goals. Well, you'll have to forgive me. If you know, let me know in the comments. And of course, the pass was perfectly set up for him to finish it from the penalty spot. And this was moreover in added time of the first half. Here came Brazil's first goal. De Brazil. He had another one. let me see if I can find it. Very similar. And the thing is, Vini is, well, this is the play here more specifically. Then he had another one. I don't have it here, but it was very similar. And it didn't end in a goal. But yes, with another clear chance. Vini is in full bloom. Vini is already back to tearing through opposing defenses. Careful, in less than a week we have Bayern. And that's the good thing. Vini had some problems apparently during the week. I hope the Brazilians don't mess with him so much anymore. Hey, yesterday against a strong team like Croatia. Hey, World Cup finalist, semi-finalist of another or maybe two others. And damn, there's Modric. That's a strong team. Well, Vini didn't seem as burdened by the shirt this time. And I hope the Brazilians calm down a bit about that issue. Most importantly, Vini didn't get hurt. It's great that he returns happy and feels valued with his national team. Wonderful. The other one who feels useful with his national team and did, now we see that thing with Ancelotti, Modric, Casemiro, and company. The other one who had some really good minutes, I think he was on the field for about 20, was Hendrik, who actually won a penalty, by the way. And hey, he was one of Brazil's stars yesterday. And the kid is developing just as we expected him to. This thing with Ancelotti and Modric, he's saying, well, they're talking here. You can't hear it very well. But this one is really funny because he says, hey, you don't have a grandfather, a Brazilian grandfather, do you? Because now he's talking with all his former teammates. And with Casemiro, with Hendrik, with Vini. Well, one of them has a Brazilian grandfather. You don't have a Brazilian grandfather. We miss Ancelotti a little bit. Someone's going to write about it, but it'll be you who wanted him to leave. Yes, and I still say it. If I went back, I'd ask again because I think Madrid's cycle with him was over. But that doesn't mean, as I've always said, I really like this man and I care about him a lot. I really do care about him, right? Well, that's it. Just little things from yesterday. Little things from yesterday. All right, let's go with this. Well, these are the lighting tests that apparently aren't fake because I saw them on several accounts and now it's actually posted here by Julio Tusa. Lighting tests at the Bernabéu. Well, let's see how it turns out for them. I mean, it looks kind of nice, right? You can still see the inside of the Bernabéu. I mean, the light from inside is leaking outside. But anyway, we can't say anything yet because these are just tests. But there's no reason why this shouldn't end up being like San Mamés when they light it up. It should be even better, like the Allianz Arena. There's really no excuse, right? Or La Ceramica, guys. I mean, I don't know, but anyway, they're still at it. They're still testing. Well, look, this is the clip of that guy on Copacabana Beach cursing everything Italian when Italy was having a terrible World Cup and got stuck in the group stage saying, if we keep going like this, we're not getting anywhere. 2014, man. Absolutely prophetic. All right, come on, let's go with the thing about Cornella. What happened was terrible. Those chants from thousands of people, there's no excuse for that or for booing the anthem. You know, I've long said on this channel that booing any anthem is an intolerable lack of respect. It's terrible for any anthem, absolutely any of them. Still, there are some anthems that, you know, hay algunos himnos que se pitan that hurt more than others. For some reason, both sides react differently to anthem booing. If someone gets upset when the Spanish anthem is booed but ignores it when another is booed, that's not right. The same applies to previous cases. No freedom of expression, booing the Spanish anthem, and yesterday this happened with the Egyptian anthem, and then we tear our clothes in outrage. Either we complain about one, I mean, we complain about all of them, or we don't complain about any of them, right? That's to start with. And then the chant, Muslim, whoever doesn't jump, terrible, absolutely terrible. I wouldn't put that in the same category. I wouldn't, and I'll explain why. In the category of rap, and the rest is schism, it's just that if I say the whole word, now YouTube, remember the issue I have with that, will demonetize me, right? Because of certain words that are repeated, right? I wouldn't consider it more for that reason than for, look, there is in the Spanish stance. And of course there's definitely a lot more when they call Vinicius a monkey. That's definitely a racist chant or macaco. And that's what we're going to talk about now. This is very derogatory. And for me, this could be classified either as xenophobia or as religious intolerance, right? A religious attack, Islamophobia, right? Someone might argue it's just descriptive. They're calling him Muslim or something else, but it's already obvious why and how they say it. I mean, the insults or the chants shouldn't be taken literally. It's clear why they're saying it. It's like if tomorrow Spain goes to play in a stadium. I'll show you some images of when Spain has gone to play somewhere, but nobody was outraged, okay? The chant was, Christian, whoever doesn't jump. Or, for example, we've already heard it, but it's strange that there wasn't so much media uproar. What we've heard in the stands against Jews lately has been incredible. Really shocking. I mean, it's unbelievable, but it's hard to even describe. I mean, not just saying whoever doesn't jump is a Jew. No, they've said all kinds of things, okay? In that context, right? There's a war going on. There's a very serious problem in the world that's been in the news in recent months and still is. Someone might argue they said it for another reason. Let them. What matters is you're attacking their religion. Even if the phrase is just whoever doesn't jump is a Jew, whoever doesn't jump is a Muslim, or whoever doesn't jump is a Christian, right? It's said for a reason, and it's said with bad intentions. So what happened yesterday in the stands at Cornella was terrible, terrible. But what's going on? It's that hypocrisy, right? And that double standard, the same as always. I understand, and you've always heard me on this channel. Those of us who criticize everything, we criticize everything, and we don't just take one side depending on who's being insulted and who's doing the insulting, right? Welcome to all the members of the media, all the journalists who now finally see a problem of intolerance in the stands in Spain. I've always said the following. It's not worse in Spain than elsewhere. It's just been punished less. Now they're starting to enforce it. One of the key elements for why they're starting to punish it now for sure, and someone who has done a very important job there because they've really gone after him in the stands, has been Vinicius. Thanks to Vinicius, this is penalized more, but it's still not enough. That's why it seems like people do things like that because they think they won't be punished. This has to be punitive, absolutely, because if not, this won't change. But I insist, I know my country, I know the rest, I have another nationality as well, and I've traveled to many places. I don't see a bigger problem in Spain. I don't see it. I see a problem with how that's punished. That I do see. But anyway, journalists now in many media outlets, COPE, yesterday, SER, they're all tearing their hair out now because, oh my God, look at what happened, right? And what happened with Lamine Yamal. By the way, Lamine Yamal has spoken. We'll read what he wrote now. How must the kid feel? Well, really bad, of course, really bad, terrible. He's going to talk about it now, right? Because he's the Muslim, and the crowd was chanting and he plays for the Spanish national team. If you don't jump, you're a Muslim with bad intentions. Of course. But now the media is clutching its pearls over this, and not over the fact that at the time, thousands of people, hundreds and thousands of people around the El Metropolitano Stadium or Montjuic or Camp Nou. Inside the stadiums, it's more controlled with fewer people, but especially in Mestalla, not the whole stadium, we won't say the whole stadium, but a significant part of the stadium or a specific section, they were calling Vinicius monkey. And around the Metropolitano, hundreds or thousands of people, and at Montjuic and at Camp Nou, they called Vinicius monkey and macaco. And yes, it was mentioned in the media, like, look, that's bad and so on. And there was always the but. Yeah, but Vinicius, he provokes, blah, blah. Always the excuses and the buts. I mean, racism, as I've said, doesn't allow for excuses. It's not, I'm not, but no. This always has to be criticized. And we always have to raise our voices about it. And to run the campaign that's being done now, it's a good campaign to call this out and to show that there's a serious problem in Spain too, especially in the stands at football matches. This has to be done all the time. Because when people who are about to enter the stadium do this, when they're heading there and they're in the surrounding areas just because they're in the surrounding area, when Vinicius reached Valencia and got off the bus, hundreds were already calling him monkey, but this was barely reported. They only mentioned that at Mestalla. Just a few people insulted him by calling him stupid. When he got off the bus, hundreds of people called him monkey that day, and the same happened on other days when Vinicius played at Mestalla and in other stadiums. And we didn't make as much of a fuss as we are now, and we should have, so we wouldn't have reached this point to be tougher, to punish more, to have raised more awareness. And the media shapes public opinion. Of course, today we're all shocked, but yes. We're doing well. There's been a real witch hunt against Vinicius in a lot of stadiums across Spain for years, and we've been calling it out here, but the media, not so much. It's not that big a deal with Vinicius. It's not all of us. Why is he saying Spain has a problem and might not be able to host the 2030 World Cup? Is Vinicius exaggerating? Is he exaggerating? Now, this is what you're focused on. Insisto. I insist I would frame what happened yesterday as an issue of intolerance to the law. Islamophobic religious intolerance, not racism, although it also has its ramifications. This too, I mean, the chant is not gratuitous, nor is it meant with bad intentions, and also many of those who were chanting it are like that as well. They are for sure because there's a big problem. But all right. But let's read about Yamal first, just a moment, and then I'll give some examples because then there's the anthem thing, of course. The anthem situation is terrible, but how long have they been booing the Spanish anthem in Spain and outside as well? And now let's look at an example of a day when the Spanish anthem was booed by those who are very offended today, and it's understandable. And here the media told them, and it was at the Olympic Games. But what's going to happen with the federation or with the Moroccan fans? Nothing happened because the media didn't make any noise about it. Absolutely none. Well, let's see, just a moment, because I think I have it right here. Let's see here. Well, I'm showing you a lot of things now, man. It's just that, of course, I have so much stuff here that I don't even know where to start. I know you guys aren't seeing anything, or maybe you are seeing it, or maybe you are seeing it, okay? The thing about the anthem is around here. Okay, look, I was going to show Yamal's thing first. All right, let's show Yamal's thing first for a moment, because I totally understand that the kid is upset, just like Vinicius was. And listen, Vinicius had even more reason. They called Vinicius a monkey. I mean, he had even more reason. Even more reason, right? Well, they've probably called Yamal that in some stadium too. In fact, at the Bernabéu, hey, the kid or the person, I don't remember who it was, who said that paid for it. And here we've always denounced it and hoped for sanctions and tougher ones. Well, Lamine Yamal just posted this a few minutes ago. Yesterday, he said, I'm Muslim. And he says this, Alhamdulillah. I think that's how it's pronounced. Yesterday at the stadium, the chant, whoever doesn't jump is Muslim, was heard. I know it targeted the rival team and wasn't personal, but as a Muslim, it's still disrespectful and intolerable. I understand that not all the fans are like this, but to those who chant these things, using a religion as a joke in a stadium makes you look ignorant and racist. Completely agree. I insist. The second thing, although the chant for me isn't exactly included in this, but it does have hints of it. It has hints because of what I just said, right? Because in many cases, maybe not all, it's the same people saying it. Football, he sees it that way anyway, and I can understand him. Football is meant to be enjoyed and to cheer, not to disrespect people for who they are or what they believe in. Thanks to everyone who supported us. See you at the World Cup. Vinicius has handled it very well in his statements, and there's not much more to say. The kid could have left upset yesterday, which is understandable. But here we're criticizing something else, and that's how the media have handled certain things that have happened, which are incredible, for example, regarding the Spanish national team. It was allowed that when San Mamés Stadium was set to host the Euros back then, posters like these were made. It faced some criticism, but the media didn't mention the issue of strong hatred towards Spaniards in the Basque Country, a problem of xenophobia. That wasn't acknowledged. We have a pretty important political issue in Spain right now, so let's not make too much noise against those who complain up there about whatever. Seriously, we've lived through these things, damn it. We've been through some really tough stuff, man. We experienced, well, recently, on November 15th, 2025, a match in San Mamés, first minute of the Euskadi versus Palestine game. This was being chanted in that stadium. Man, it was being chanted. Whoever doesn't vote is Spanish. Whoever doesn't vote is Spanish. Of course, you say, no, they're not criticizing a religion here. I mean, they're not messing with you because of a religion here. Yes, but because of a nationality. Those are feelings too. I mean, it's not the same, obviously. One thing is your religious beliefs, another thing is your patriotic emotions, your patriotic feelings, and of course, another thing is your skin color. That's why we have to make those distinctions in every case. It's intolerance either way. This was hardly mentioned or discussed, just a little, or not discussed at all, but we're going further than that. We're going further. Montilivi Stadium of over there in Girona, Stadium of Girona. They even put this up, Spanish dogs. Hey, zero attention, zero, nothing, a banner, nothing. There was no problem there. Not there. Hey, nobody stopped to think there's still a huge problem among people in certain parts of Spain. This is extremely xenophobic, right? However, well, hey, you just found out that they put it up, right? Okay. More serious things in Montilivi too. They said that thing, that fuck Spain, right? And freaking Spaniards. I can't say certain things. You know how it is on YouTube. Spaniards, right? PK came out that day, by the way, and it was a good gesture. And look, I'm the last person to avoid criticizing PK, but this is something all players should do. Tell people, be quiet. Not this, not this. Not this. You're hurting a lot of people's feelings. But that day, that was said in the stands, and even worse things were said in the matches of the Catalan national team. They were the lead story on the radio shows afterward and so on. Did the mess that's happening now happen back then? Of course not. Of course not. And like I said before about Vinicius, right? That people call him, a lot of people around the stadium and inside too, and those who are outside the stadium will later go inside, calling him monkey, macaque, hundreds and thousands of people doing that, the importance that was given to it. So there is clearly a double standard. And I insist, everything's wrong, damn it, everything's wrong, absolutely everything's wrong, but it has to be everything, not just one part. Or not react in such a belligerent and vehement way toward just one side and not the other. About the anthem, wait, I have it here somewhere. This was at the Olympic Games, Spain versus Morocco semifinals. I can't play more since I assume this belongs to Eurosport, etc. Anyway, the stands were full of Moroccans. That match was incredible. Spain won and then won the games. I mean, in that match against France in the final, nearly the whole stadium booed the Spanish national anthem. There was some minor reference and so on. Morocco had to apologize. Maybe they did. I don't know. I don't think so, because there was no social pressure against Morocco or against the federation or against anyone. They saw it as, well, that's rude, but that's normal. Now we're fighting because we booed the Egyptian anthem, which was clearly wrong. Well, it should always be like that. Absolutely. Well, anyway. Well, look, I said I wasn't going to give my opinion, but you understand, right? I absolutely condemn it. Everything, but we have to condemn everything. And I compare it with other types of unfortunate situations that have happened. But from the other side, someone who criticizes one thing but not another is suspicious. That's the suspicious one. That's the one who's hiding something from you. That's the hypocrite. And there are many in the media. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for joining me. Bye. Bye.